3 million kids were reported as child abuse victims, 2,000 of which died.
Currently, over 1/2 million young people are in foster care.
This one comes from this way, the other one comes from the other way. They both end up in the same place.
Child abuse is when a parent or guardian or someone that is considered the caretaker of a child abuses a child physically or sexually or puts them in some sort of a dangerous situation.
My advice, no matter how much time you have to give, you can do something to impact the lifetime of a young person.
There can be physical abuse and there can be sexual abuse. There can also be emotional abuse. And there's also neglect, which is what the majority of kids come into foster care on. And that's basically if the child's basic needs of food, clothing, shelter, that kind of stuff, basic needs aren't being met.
It's time that we get off our butts. But I don't know enough. But I don't know what to do. But I don't have the time. Get off your butt and do something about this.
Child abuse is probably one of the worst things to happen to any, not just a child, young child especially, because it scars them for life. It's something I wouldn't want any kid to go through because it just puts kids down.
Sometimes when he would come in, if he was in a bad mood, he would come in the house and usually take all of his anger out on me because I was the only boy. He would punch me, hit me, throw me against the wall. Usually there would be holes in my wall from my head, and he would tell my mom that I punched the wall. Being abused as a child affected me emotionally because I felt drawn or torn away from my family, and the only person that I could talk to were my friends.
I don't know, man. Just think about where I'd be if it wasn't for my foster parents or other people that helped me out.
The child came to me and told me he was being abused. Find out the usual particulars from a child: who, what, when, where, why, how, and believe it or not, it has happened here. Immediately call for an investigator from our department. If it was a female, we have to talk about possibly having a rape kit done at one of the local hospitals. Age is important too, depends how old the child is. The particular person I'm talking about here is about 3 years ago. Girl was 17. You know, went and had the rape kit done and referred it to investigators. And that's basically end of my job, and then do the initial contact report.
Sometimes, like we had a case with these two 5-year-old twins where they were African American, and mom openly admits that she beat them with the belt and she left the marks on them, and that's how she feels her children should be disciplined, and that's how they discipline in the African American culture. So she was very open about what had happened. In that case, it's a lot easier because we can say, well, in the United States culture, excessive corporal punishment is not okay. You may not leave marks on your child. And so they can be removed immediately. It's kind of a more clear-cut case. Basically, if you're going to leave marks on the child, it's more than likely going to be considered abuse.
My name is Wendy Ives. I am the acting director for Hopevale Foster Care Services. We provide foster homes for children that have a need to be out of their home temporarily. We have several different levels of how our program helps children. We have traditional foster care or regular foster care, which is for children that need a place to go but don't have a lot of issues they need to work on. We have therapeutic foster care, which is for children who have maybe some ongoing issues and need counseling or behavioral plans, or maybe they have higher medical needs. And what we do is, our first primary goal is to work with them and their families to get them home. Hopefully whatever problems were arising that they had to be out of their home, that we can help their parents overcome that to get them home. And if that doesn't work, finding a plan for them. It could be an alternative plan living where you might have an older teenager who chooses to stay in care until that they can go on to college. Or for a younger child who can't go back home, we would find a permanent adoptive resource.
Who's to say why they're in this place?
If we don't do something about this, by the year 2020, over 9 million young people will experience the foster care system. Over 50% of homeless individuals are foster kids. But these young people involved in foster care, they're not just a number, they each have a story.